Scale of 1 to 10, how do you think this call's gone for you?
Probably not very well. I think my point I want to make is the difference between Harry and Prince Andrew is, I think, from how I understand it, Harry chose to leave, take his wife and family to California, like you said earlier, to protect her and to protect them and take them away. So I don't think that he's not being invited or not being included. I think he's chosen to take himself away. And then on the Prince Andrew side, I think I personally don't think he's done anything wrong. So he's not taking himself away and he's trying to push himself back in because what he thinks he has or hasn't done is very minor. So I don't think that calling him the friend of a paedophile and condemning him for being friends with a paedophile, I think it's unfair because there are so many people that have friends that have done awful things.
No, but
that's not his
he stayed
fault.
Mates afterwards, after he'd come out of jail.
What I was saying to the lady before I spoke to you is you don't know what conversations are being had or have been had behind closed doors. You don't know what Prince Andrew said to Jeffrey Epstein behind closed doors. You don't know if they were being best friends or whether they actually went there and said, you know what, this is awful, I can't believe you've done this, and all the rest of it.
No, you're right.
You don't know
you're
that.
right. No, you got me back to rights, Jack. It's perfectly possible he flew all the way to New York after his mate had got out of jail to say, gosh, I can't believe what a wrong 'un you are.
No, but
you mean all those teenage girls that were hanging around at your private island? You mean that some of them were there and they didn't want to? I had absolutely no idea, Jeffrey. Look at the embarrassment you've caused me. Shame on you and your international sex trafficking paedophile ways. You're right, Jack. It could easily have been that conversation he flew out to have.
But I think you don't know that.
I'm agreeing with you, mate. He could have flown all the way to New York to say, all those girls that were knocking around who I asked you whether they were underage and you assured me that they weren't and they were all there entirely of their own volition. God, the embarrassment, you disgusting man. Shame on you for offering me massages with them and taking my photograph with my arms around. Shame on you, Jeffrey Epstein, for your disgusting behaviour. You're right, mate.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to C News. My name is Smiley. I'm very happy to have you here today. Don't forget to engage with our videos by giving us a thumbs up, subscribing, and leaving your comments down below. The double standards in how members of the British royal family are treated by both the media and the public have once again come under the spotlight, thanks to a recent fiery exchange between LBC host James O'Brien and a caller. In a conversation that left many listeners stunned, the caller insisted that Prince Andrew had done nothing wrong, while condemning Prince Harry for choosing to move his family to California. James O'Brien, known for his sharp and analytical approach to political and social issues, did not hold back in dismantling the caller's argument. This conversation shines a harsh light on the hypocrisy in public opinion surrounding the royal family. How can Prince Andrew, a man embroiled in one of the biggest scandals in royal history, be defended while Prince Harry is vilified for making a personal choice for his family's well-being? This video will explore the heated exchange in detail, analyze the deeper societal biases at play, and expose the media's role in shaping these narratives. The caller's stance was clear. Prince Andrew, despite his widely documented scandals, had not done anything wrong, while Prince Harry, who chose to leave the UK with Meghan Markle and their children, had committed a greater offence against the monarchy and the British people. According to the caller, Prince Harry's decision to step back from royal duties and move to California was a betrayal of his responsibilities. The caller framed this as an act of selfishness, arguing that Harry abandoned his duty, whereas Prince Andrew, who remains in the UK, was somehow more loyal to the monarchy. This viewpoint is one that has been echoed in many right-wing and pro-monarchy media outlets, which have consistently attempted to portray Harry and Meghan as villains while downplaying or outright ignoring the serious allegations against Prince Andrew. James O'Brien immediately challenged the caller's hypocrisy, forcing him to confront the reality of his claims. How could Prince Harry, who has committed no crime and made a personal decision to relocate, be seen as a greater wrongdoer than Prince Andrew, who was publicly accused of serious misconduct? Prince Andrew's connection to Jeffrey Epstein. Prince Andrew had a long-standing relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, a convicted sex offender. Despite overwhelming evidence of Epstein's crimes, Andrew continued to associate with him, even after Epstein's conviction. The Virginia Giuffre allegations. Virginia Giuffre accused Prince Andrew of sexual abuse when she was a minor, an allegation that led to a civil lawsuit. While Andrew has denied the claims, he chose to settle the case for millions of dollars rather than fight it in court. The BBC interview disaster. Andrew's infamous BBC Newsnight interview in 2019 was widely seen as a public relations catastrophe. Instead of clearing his name, his excuses, including the now infamous claim that he couldn't sweat, only made matters worse. Harry's crime protecting his family. Unlike Andrew, Prince Harry has not been accused of any illegal or unethical behavior. His crime, according to critics, was stepping back from his royal duties and moving to the United States to protect his wife and children from a hostile media environment.
Check one, check.
Harry's continued public service. Despite leaving the UK, Harry has continued his charitable work through the Invictus Games mental health advocacy and various humanitarian efforts. His dedication to service has not wavered, despite being financially cut off from the royal family. With all of this in mind, O'Brien asked the caller a simple question. How is it possible that you see Harry as the bigger problem here? The caller struggled to respond, caught in the trap of his own flawed reasoning. One of the most revealing aspects of this discussion is how the media has shaped public perception of both Prince Andrew and Prince Harry. Despite being embroiled in serious allegations, Prince Andrew has largely been shielded by the British media. While there have been negative headlines, they have not been nearly as relentless or damaging as those targeting Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. The royal family distanced itself from Andrew but never fully cut ties, allowing him to retain his royal residence and receive financial support from King Charles. Some right-wing outlets have even suggested that Andrew should return to public life, despite the severe damage he has done to the monarchy's reputation. Racist and sexist attacks. Meghan Markle, in particular, has been targeted with racist and misogynistic coverage, with the press often twisting her every action into a scandal. Accusations of cashing in. Harry and Meghan's deals with Netflix and Spotify have been framed as opportunistic, despite the fact that they needed to become financially independent after being cut off by the royal family. The hypocrisy of royal traditions. Many of the things Harry and Meghan have been criticized for, such as speaking openly about mental health, are actions that other royals, like Prince William and Kate Middleton, have been praised for. The contrast between how Andrew and Harry are treated by the media is staggering. While one is accused of serious misconduct and yet given the benefit of the doubt, the other is hounded relentlessly for simply choosing to live a different life. This debate is about more than just the royal family. It's a reflection of the deeper societal biases at play. Classism and blind loyalty to the establishment. Many traditionalists see Harry as a traitor simply because he stepped away from royal life, whereas they are willing to excuse Andrew's actions because he remains within the system. Racism and misogyny. The treatment of Meghan Markle has been particularly revealing. Many of the attacks against her have racial and sexist undertones, suggesting that a woman of color in the royal family was always going to face backlash. The hypocrisy of moral outrage. The idea that Harry is more problematic than Andrew simply doesn't hold up to scrutiny. It reveals a deep-seated hypocrisy in how people judge public figures, not based on their actual actions, but on how much they conform to an outdated ideal of royalty. James O'Brien's conversation with the caller perfectly encapsulates the glaring double standards in how members of the British royal family are judged. Prince Andrew, despite his well-documented scandals and serious allegations, continues to receive a level of protection and leniency from both the royal establishment and sections of the media. Meanwhile, Prince Harry, who has committed no crime and has simply chosen a different path for his family, faces relentless criticism and vilification. This contradiction raises uncomfortable questions about the role of class privilege, institutional loyalty, and media influence in shaping public perception. Beyond the specifics of the royal family, this debate reflects broader societal biases. The leniency shown towards Prince Andrew and the intense scrutiny placed on Prince Harry suggest that many people prioritize obedience to tradition over accountability for serious wrongdoing. Additionally, the racial and misogynistic undertones in Meghan Markle's treatment expose a deep-seated resistance to change within royalist circles and the British press. These double standards demonstrate how outdated notions of power and privilege continue to dictate who is allowed to thrive and who is subjected to endless scrutiny. Ultimately, this conversation should serve as a wake-up call for people to question the narratives they are being fed by the media. Instead of accepting the vilification of Prince Harry and Meghan at face value, it is crucial to examine why these stories are being pushed and who benefits from them. The fact that Prince Andrew can be excused while Harry is demonized for protecting his family speaks volumes about the priorities of certain segments of society. It is time for the public to demand fair and honest accountability rather than blindly defending individuals based on their royal status or perceived loyalty to the establishment. Let's keep the conversation going. That's it for today's video. See you in the next one.